All right,
Oh,
we are
I-
now
So far.
live on Twitch. Yay, we're on
1
Twitch. Oh, I
second.
have
Be right back.
two people on the same thing there. There we go. That's better. Haha, there we go. Technology. And we are
Okay.
all online now on Twitch. So, first things first, thanks to all those who are joining us today. You're going to see a few things have changed here on our Friday mornings. We used to be doing the Sunken Citadel, and that is now adjusted. So we have under my face, there's Jeddah. Did I do that right? Yeah, okay. There's Jeddah. There's which is actually Abby. There's Dick. There's Putter,
Hello.
and then there's Sky Guy. Say hi, guys.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hi guys.
All right.
Okay.
So one of the things that people are going to notice there is we no longer have Joe with us playing, who used to play Hanar. He got a job. The guy got a job and now can actually pay for his D&D addiction. So
dare
you know,
you.
I know, but
Good
you know
for
what?
him. Good for
It
him.
is. It is good for him, and we're actually very glad that he gets a chance to do the things that he needs to do for himself. We're gonna miss him. Maybe we'll get a chance to see him later on. We'll know. You never know, but we wish him the best. So, thanks for helping us get started here, Joe. But we are going to welcome a new player amongst us by the name of Putter. So, hello, Putter.
Hello, greetings from Sweden.
Sweden, and this is one of the cool things about D&D and Twitch and doing these things online is that we're from everywhere. I've got somebody from Sweden, got somebody from the Netherlands, got somebody from the Philippines. Abby, where are you? You're in the
Well,
States, right?
actually, Middle
Yep,
East.
Oh,
I'm
hang
in
on.
the States.
Oh, that's right. You're in the Middle East. Sorry, my bad there, Dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in the States, and I'm in Canada. I'm in Canada. So it's kind of nice that we get a chance to circumnavigate the globe just a little bit, and so appreciate that you guys can join us at the various. Some of you guys have sunlight. I do not. Not yet. It's coming. So I appreciate that we get a chance to do all this together. So where I'm going to kind of dive into a little bit of the ideas to what we're going to do today. First one is we are not at session 0, nor are we at session 1, really, because we've had some sessions with 2 of these characters before. This is like session half, I guess. I don't know. I'm making things up now. But the idea here is that we've done a time warp, and we've just done right through to the end of the Sunken Citadel, and so that's actually where we're going to be picking up. At this point in time, where we're going to be picking things up, it really is Jetta and Bob Moss that will be carrying on, and then we'll be introducing 2 new characters as we proceed. So before we do that, I wanted to see if there was any character-related questions that anybody wanted to make sure they had covered before we dove in. I know I have 1 or 2 that I might need to ask people, but if you need to tell me answers privately, you can, because you don't want to reveal secrets yet. Then of course you can certainly do so. Maybe even just by typing it out in the Discord or something along those lines. But let's see if you guys have any questions first.
I actually sent you something in Discord. I'm not sure if you noticed that.
I did.
It was concerning. Can I start off? Did you respond to that?
Not yet. No, I was. That was actually going to be one of the things I was going to mention to you.
Okay, then I'll patiently
Okay.
wait.
Bob just leveled up to 4. I am just continuing. Nothing has changed for Bob. Bob pushes on.
And all of the chaos that comes with it.
I did take a feat instead of an ability enhancement. So.
Oh, okay, cool.
But and what that feat is, I think some of you know, but you'll find out soon enough.
Fair enough. You have an idea already.
Yeah.
And we're good to say hello to our chat already. Hey there, Dak. Good to see you. If you are in the chat as we get going here, one of the things that I like to do is get the chat to roll for the DM from time to time. So players, especially Petter, you haven't seen that necessarily from me quite yet, but I'll actually get the Twitch chat to roll for me so that you can blame the Twitch chat as opposed to blaming the DM for all of the death that happens. I mean, that doesn't happen, or all the things.
Well, if it's Dak, he'll roll good for us.
Yeah, it's true. It does pretty good. It does pretty well for us most of the time. Then I'm going to ask my question. Actually, I'm going to answer Putter's question first. I have 3 things actually for you. First one is when it comes to anything that comes from the outer planes. For example, from elemental planes or from even the hells or the heavens. Basically, what we are in is in the material world. So anything that would exist in say, Faerun or Greyhawk, in terms of their versions of the outer planes, they can also exist very comfortably in our outer planes as well. So, as an example, although Putter, sorry, your character won't know this yet. Um, Jedah's deity exists or has existed in Exandria, and therefore, so because of the outer planeness or even the Feywilds and the Shadowfell, there is some kind of overlap between realms, and so you that might give you a little bit of an opportunity for you to think about how outer planes might affect your character.
Okay.
In terms of your familiar, yes. I just haven't given you a sheet yet, but I will give you a sheet. Actually, I'll give you all of the sheets for a familiar, but if needs be. But I think right now we have a specific thing that we're looking at.
I'll
Here,
just
so
go
I'll
with
make sure I have
that
it
one
right.
I mentioned.
Beauty. So I'll drop that sucker on the. I'll drop it into your journal here, probably sometime during the session today. And
Okay.
then the last one is your name is Putter. Is your character's first name also Putter?
You got it. I'm lazy.
All right. Okay, that makes I appreciate it when when some people try to make it so that it is super easy to connect with, because it's going to take Dick a little while for me to perhaps realize that I'm not talking to him, that I am talking to him when I say Fragger instead of Torina, and I'm going to have to practice calling him Fragger instead or something along those lines. So, and I guess that was going to be my next question was for Dick. How am I saying your character's name properly? Because I'm totally messing it up right now, probably already.
Frar.
What? Yes. Okay. Frar.
So fun.
Frar.
I just made it
Okay.
based on a sound.
I love it. Frar. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so
I'm gonna butcher that so much.
so am I.
That's good. That's the point.
That's the point. Okay, well, at least it's not like in one of the other games we had where I had one character who actually called themselves You. That was their name, You. And so when I say you
Oh.
walk into a tent and they say, like you or like the party you, that was a truly
This
messy
would
thing.
get old
You know,
pretty fast.
That's what
Oh,
happens
man.
when you take the concept from Rush Hour, where one of the actors is like talking to like some sensei master, and his name is You, and there's another guy called Me, and then he's
Yes.
like, "Who are you? I am you." I said, "No, I'm me. No, he is me, and I am you." That kind of thing turned into a
Wait,
whole
who is who?
character.
Yeah, gotta love it. Who's on first? Yeah, I get the Abbott Costello. Gotta love it. Okay, so then if there isn't any other questions, I may as well get our layout here going for you guys if you're ready for it.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, then here we go. All right, so you Jenna and Bob, they are already relatively familiar a little bit with some of this stuff, and by extension, Dick, the player, does too. But you spent about an Elven day underground. Well, Bob, more than an Elven day, more like 2 Elven days almost. So, and the Jeddah was actually more of a half of an Elven day underground, discovering why there was so much interest in the Sunken Citadel. And you guys both got here for 2 different reasons. Bob, you got here because to the Sunken Citadel because you were going with a group of adventurers. The 2 people who seemed to be leading the group were the Hucriel family, 2 members of the Hucriel family. And Jeddah, you got there a little while afterwards because the halfling halfling sheriff of Roru was slightly concerned, perhaps, maybe not completely concerned, but somewhat concerned that these adventurers had not returned from the Sunken Citadel yet, or from really he didn't knew nothing about the Sunken Citadel. He just knew about goblins and kobolds getting in the way of travelers to Roru and from Roru, and so he was kind of concerned about that, and even offered you a reward to try to recover people and maybe even solve the threat. So 2 different reasons why you guys got there. Fragger, I see you. Sorry, Frar, I see your question. Your question is actually it's a while ago, and we can figure out exactly how long ago if you would like. We'll say that you have been where you are probably for for at least a year, if not much longer than that.
All right.
Cool, cool, cool. So for Jetta and for Bob, you did find at the end of your excursion down below a massive tree that obviously came from the Redbud Forest where the Sunken Citadel was set, but it was being cultivated by what you now know to be a druid who had been corrupted in not necessarily in mind, but at least in purpose. Um, as all evil players do, they monologue. And so in the druid's monologue, you learned that this tree was one of three such trees in the forest, because it was slightly unique from the others, aside from its size, but in a little bit in its coloration as well. This one was called a whitebud tree, which is unusual, of course, because you're in the redbud forest. And there are three such whitebud trees. And this one had actually been transplanted to this cavern to protect it years ago, decades ago, even. Unfortunately, without Yunlil's light, it was not able to grow the way it was supposed to, and so this corrupt druid had to come up with a new way of providing it with nourishment. And the way it would do so was by way of living energy, if you will. The the druid welcomed the goblins to the citadel with a pact to get the goblins to bring to the druid basically living energy in the form of captured peoples. Now, Bob Moss, your original party, the Hukriels, ended up being such people that were captured by goblins, thrown down that well, and therefore delivered to this druid to be
I suspected as much.
fertilizer but living fertilizer to be precise. And actually, when you did get to the tree, one of your Hukriel companions had just lost consciousness as it was being enveloped by the tree. Now, the tree produced a mix of red and white buds, and the druid's scheme that it was going through and cultivating was to collect the deadly white buds of this tree and use them to seek revenge on those who allowed the deforestation of the redbud forest. The goblins, for their part, fulfilled their duties quite well up until you showed up. They kept the treasures and the trinkets for their own purposes. They were also gifted some of the red buds from the tree for healing purposes, because that is what the red buds do, is provide a little bit of healing. However, the kobolds, who also lived in the upper levels of this crevasse that the Sunken Citadel was in, were just starting to get really annoying for the goblins. And but the stroke of luck led to the goblins making a pact with Calcrix, who was the kobold's dragon. Not much of a dragon, just a wormling, really. Still, he knocked you guys around a bit. The kobolds, upon learning of the demise of the goblins, sorry, that's not right. Oh yeah. So the kobolds ended up having this problem though, because the goblins were all gone because of you. Their patron dragon, Calcrix, was now gone, and now even that weird mage below, that's what they called it, the weird mage below, it was now gone. They're like, what do we do now? What's our purpose? What are we here for? And so through a couple of very interesting suggestions that you would have provided them, you would have suggested to them to protect the tree until the Redbud Druids, which in particular, Bob Moss, you would know of their existence. You might not necessarily know them directly because you're not from this forest, but you would know that there are druids in this forest that would probably want to take care of this tree and bring it back to the way it's supposed to be. And so you convince these kobolds to take care of the tree. And should they do so, then the druids would probably reward them for it. And you told them it's not called you didn't tell them that it was called the whitebud tree. You called it Meepo's tree. After
As an homage to our young friend who died way too young.
Who died getting thrown into a room.
And accidentally getting smacked with a spiritual weapon.
By the party.
Yeah.
By the party. Yeah, by the party.
We murdered that boy.
And deboned or something.
Yeah, it kind of ended up just being pulverized in the end. You told the kobolds to feed it beasts, though, not humanoids. Just to be clear, because Yuzdrael was pretty certain, based off of some of the descriptions you gave her, that she was going to need to feed this tree kobolds, and she didn't want to do that. And so you told her, no, feed it beasts, not humanoids. And the Redbud Druids will reward you. And that was convincing enough for Yuzdrael to have a new purpose for her kobold clan. And so the kobolds remain in the Citadel. The goblin's treasure has now been recovered by you, and this is where we get to some of the particulars. So, if, Sky Guy and Abby, if you guys have any questions about some of the things that did happen in the Sunken Citadel that you guys can take with you, now's the time to snag them. In particular, one of the things that you did recover was an onyx gem that had a little faint green pulse that would happen inside of it. You also found another chest later on that was pointed out to you by the gnome that you nicknamed Grabby.
I don't want to know why we nicknamed him like that.
Well, because Grabby was Grabby with Abby's character. So, you also, so from that treasure chest, you would have uncovered a strange compass of sorts that has no directional markings on it, but has 8 needles on it, and those needles seem to be locked in place. They wouldn't move. But you haven't had a chance to take much of a closer look at that. Do you guys have any other questions about what you would have pulled back from the Sunken Citadel?
Other than the Red Bud Druids would be an awesome name for a coffee shop in Amsterdam.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, any loot that we would take with us in this fast forward part of the campaign. It would be nice to have a handout just to read about it in closer look, to not forget anything of importance.
Sure. I will say that you also have, let's go with the equivalent of 22 gold worth of other trinkets and gems and value in that treasure chest. I like the dice to decide for me. I'm just very glad that it wasn't a whole bunch of ones.
Yeah, and maybe I wasn't paying attention here because sometimes I drift off. What was the story that happened to Hanar? Or did we not come to that yet?
I hadn't come to that yet. You guys were just now exiting the Citadel, and the Hanar. One of the tools that the druid had was this hammer, and this hammer happened to have some glyphs on it that Hanar, with his new ability to start reading Draconic, he's starting to actually understand a few of the symbols in the Draconic. He recognized one of the sigils on the side as a Draconic thing, and also for the first time made a connection to the fact that this Draconic symbol on this hammer that the druid had, that he now recovered, matched something that his brother had. And so he immediately decided something feels funny or wrong, and decided to leave. Now, Tarina, I haven't had a chance to ask this yet. Tarina, where did Tarina go?
Well, initially, Tarina came to the town because he was supposed to go and find the Redbud Forest Druids, because that's where he needed to go to begin with. But he got dragged along in this adventure as like a completely accident. So after the whole thing, he thanks the party, but has to do the inevitable and like go and meet with the druids. And I want to emphasize that he really thinks of them very closely.
Okay.
And promises that they'll meet again eventually before he heads off to the forest himself.
So
Help out with the druids.
So that means that me and Jeddah don't need to do any effort in informing the Red Bud Druids about the tree, because Tarina will do that.
Yeah,
he's
gonna like take over for now.
Okay.
Beauty. And that was actually going to be the next thing I mentioned, is that you have 3 things that you know of for certain that you guys could be doing, but having Tarina basically take care of one of them, that is lovely and solved. The other 2 things that you might want to consider, although you don't have to, it kind of depends on what your characters are interested in, is to go and tell the mother of the 2 Hukreel people who were on your party, Bob, that those 2 are now one with the forest, as it were. And
The one with the force. That's what I heard.
and the other one is for Jetta to go
Um,
back to the sheriff and say, so yeah, we got this done, or something along
uh,
those lines.
well, Bob is from a tribe of Furbolg that lived in the forest nearby, has been there for a long, long time, and has not seen a lot of the outside world. So I'm not sure I had that much connection with my previous party to feel obligated to pass
Well,
on
Very
any
possible.
we
obituary or
could get some.
something. So Jedi, I'll just follow you.
We could get some coin out of it. So,
Coin is always good.
yep, we're poor. So,
Use some coin to buy some new ingredients for my meals.
oh yeah, you got into cooking.
All right. Well, and with that, the realm of Olivos is yours, and I will be introducing you to the two new characters after I know where you guys want to go.
For me, I popped in when we were already in the Citadel, of course. Is there like
Yes.
a little part of the map you can show us to know where we just to get our bearings as a player?
After a fashion, yes. Let's see here if I can do that really quickly and easily using a handout. Yeah, I can. Let's get you a map of Wesmia in here.
I
Give me
know
one
it's always
second.
like a big bay, and it's been a while since I've seen the map. Sorry.
No worries. That's kind of what this is. I'll do this super fast, and then I'll put it up on the screen for the Twitch to see as
I
well.
was just about maybe players have not seen the place. It's a homebrew world anyway. So.
It is indeed, and so being able to show you this is only a small chunk of the homebrewed world, and to be clear, it is homebrewed. So I am equal parts excited and terrified, because of course we're going into a new thing that I have created, and yet if you go to some place that I have not yet actually fully envisioned, that's what the DM looks like when they get terrified. So okay, this is not uploading the way I was hoping it would, so give me a couple of moments and I'll pull that up for you guys. Oh, there it is. Got it. Hang on. Let's show everyone. Can be in case. All right, so there you guys go. That is Wesmia right there. Let's get it up onto the chat so everybody else can see it, or onto the Twitch so everybody else can see it too.
Oh, that's super detailed.
There's a bit there. And so if you get a chance to have a good solid look at it, what you'll notice is on the left-hand side of the map, above the waste, kind of north of the wasting, northwest of Ogopogo Bay, is the Glazierblad Forest. So somewhere in that expanse of forest, Bob, that is where your Furbolg group would be, your Furbolg clan would be
Correct,
from.
correct.
You guys are currently on the opposite side of the Ogopogo Bay, somewhere near the edge of, and you can actually see the Redbud Forest and where it has kind of been deforested away from Ogopogo Bay. You're kind of near the edge of that forest line.
Okay.
Roru is at the point of Ogopogo Bay where it dumps into the wasting, and that is where Jetta met the sheriff, and that is where the Hukreel family is from. As for, and just for some extra background there, Frar, there's where your Redbud Forest is. However, your original family would have been from someplace just off the east side of the map.
I do have a question. Are they a tribe or are they like a little bit more advanced?
The Redbud Druids?
No. The family.
They would be more, in your case, it would probably be more tribe-like.
All right.
In Putter's case, they would be much more advanced. That Putter will likely be from an area, again, slightly off the side. In fact, if you guys look on the right-hand side, there is kind of this river that moves from the spawning pool out to, oh, I forgot what I called that one. What did I call that one? Slow load. The Spear of Sios. There's that little river there. That river is basically a border between the country that you guys are currently in, called Wesmia, and what is known as the United Hordes of Stiag. And so the United Hordes of Stiag is kind of where Putter would be from, and probably from one of the more affluent areas of those hordes. As for the other main features that everybody for sure is going to know about, there is the country of Wesleria to the north. It's not so much of a country as it is just a gathering of giant kin in the Seraph hordes to the west. And actually, there's a bunch of halflings that live on the edge of that too, relatively close here. And then there's the mountain ranges to the north. One of them is the Crystal Peaks, and then the northwest range is the Great West Peaks. Very tall mountains, easily seen from quite a distance. And then Claymouth is the largest settlement by number of people and by number of and by amount of ground cover that it has of any non-monster kind city. Ceos, on the other hand, is the most populated, but is a much more dense population, as the kind of capital of the United Hordes of Stiag. And that pretty much covers your overview of Wesmia from what you guys would for certain know.
Oh, sorry about that. My phone.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. I sometimes have random sounds enter my head, so it fit my sounds.
Yeah, you say there's a town nearby named Roro.
Yeah, that's where we met the sheriff.
Well, I could use a good meal and some new cuisine I've not seen before. So, how about we head that way? Seems you need to tell somebody of authority what happened here.
Yeah. Then we can get some food. And have you ever been to a tavern before, Bob?
I have been to one, but it's in Raymond, to the north of here. It's a little
Okay.
town close to the bay.
Gotcha.
But Roro, no, I've seen the smoke come up from the town from afar, the lights that glow from across the bay, but
I just didn't know if druids got drunk or not. Kind of new to druid stuff.
you cannot live 70 years without drinking, so
That is true. I don't know how you would do it.
I've been around for a while, but so how many days of walking are we talking about actually?
Well, you guys, as it happens, it's pretty much just a single day of walking. Let's find out what time of day it is. Let's go. When you finally exit the Citadel, it is it's midday. It's midday. Right around the it's probably been about an hour or two past high sun. Yeah. So you probably would need to take one camp before you get all the way back to Roru, but that's it, just one camp.
Where did you say Roro was located?
It is, if you can see on the left-hand side of the map, there's the Ogopogo Bay. Roru is just right on the south end of that bay, right at the peak of the main landmass there. Yeah, little podunk town, a port village, as it were. And many people know of its existence, but they might not be able to see it if they blinked as their ship passed by. Okay, so if that's the case, then we're gonna get you guys on the path. Then is that good for you guys, Bob and Jeddah?
Yep.
Okay.
But, did we take all the loot ourselves yet, or did we give Tarina and Hanar some coin for the road?
That is a good question. What would your characters have done?
If they
Hanar
didn't
wouldn't actually
ask
care
for
if
it.
he's got the. Hanar's gonna ask for that hammer, and
I don't
probably
care
some of the
about
red
that
buds,
either.
and then just go.
Fine with me.
Okay, Tarina.
Tarina.
He would probably just take enough to get like ale. Just borrow to borrow some money, and then he said he'll return it later.
6 gold.
Yeah.
There you go.
Can get very
That'll
drunk
buy
on
you a
6
lot of
gold.
ale. Yeah.
Just
Awesome. Okay.
take a spa and soak that wood in some water.
Yeah, the arm, that wooden
Some
arm you had
proper
is right.
mineral water.
Oil, get it oiled or
He's gonna have the.
There you go.
It's gonna
Bread.
be his kind of bling.
All right. So, Frar, I'm going to get you to do something for me then, please. Can you please roll for
Yes.
me a D10?
D10.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Frar, you have been in this redbud forest for quite some time on your own. Um, basically, you have kind of made this personal commitment to somebody who was extremely close to you, who came from the redbud forest in the first place. To seeing as you were no longer welcomed amongst your own kind, to take care of this space that she was from, to take care of the redbud forest. Upon arriving here, you now recognize exactly what she was talking about in the fact that it had been there had been much of the forest removed by industry or by commerce. And although you have to admit you don't see much evidence of that commerce or industry anymore, you still have made that commitment to protect it. And so when you see some interesting characters moving through, you decide to keep watch when you realize just how significant some of these characters are. And in particular, what you see is this tall, mangy-looking humanoid, but is not so much human and is more canine in nature, riding atop an extremely large hyena. And this is highly unusual. You've been here for a while. You haven't seen these kinds of creatures in the forest, but you also know that if you were to try to take them on your own, that wouldn't do so well. So you've been kind of keeping your eye, trying to prevent them from doing anything untoward in the forest. They both mostly just been passing through at this point in time, and so you've just been keeping your distance. I'm going to get you to roll for me a stealth check, just so you can see what just so we can see how good or how far of a distance you would need to keep, and you would be able to pay attention to make sure that you keep that distance as well. So roll that stealth check for me, please. Yeah, you're actually able to be pretty close to on top of them, and they haven't noticed your presence yet. The wind is in your favor. And actually, we should mention that too. Roll 20 still has to fix a bit of dark mode stuff here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, and the wind is actually coming from the northwest, which is perfect because your quarry seems to be traveling in the exact, like straight along with, or straight into the wind, I should say. That's setting the stage for your part. Putter, you have.
Yes.
Do you have a name for your mount? Did you come up with a name for your mount by any chance yet?
Well, as the mount won't stay with me long, it's a family mount.
Right.
It doesn't really have a name. It's a beast.
Okay. All right.
It's below me to give it a name.
Fair enough. All right. So you on your mount are now traveling through a good chunk of the forest. The destination that you had in your head was Claymouth, and only because it was big, and you didn't really know much about anywhere else, and you haven't seen a community since you entered the Redbud Forest. So you're on your own path, and as you continue on this path, you begin to notice that it is starting to get a little bit more dense, and the path is starting to get a bit narrower. That few evidence of fewer wagons and such. I'm going to get you to roll for me a perception check, if you will, please.
Okay.
And Bob and Jetta, could you guys do that same for me? Roll a perception check. Okay. This is how we
If
start,
all
Putter.
roll bad, if we all roll bad, we just
I see everything.
walk into each other. So bump into.
You only see shapes.
Pretty much, right?
I'm walking here. I'm walking here.
There we go. That'll look a little bit better now.
Perception.
I need to get that out here because I can't get this to look the way I want it to. So just bear with me here, guys. There. Okay, that's what I need. Ah, haha. Got it. Okay, cool. Alrighty then. So, yeah, okay, so Jetta and Bob, you kind of have emptied out onto this path. Just it goes to Roru, or you could at least get to Roru from it. And so as you come out to this very narrow, basically it's only ever been a footpath. As you notice this footpath begin to open up, you do hear some rustling in the trees off to your left. You can also see a humanoid far down the path, in the little bit of the shade that the trees kind of cast. As you get a little bit closer, you can see something is on a mount on the path. It's not an extremely large mount, it's just a simple mount, but it's not a horse. It's got this strange little sideways motion to its body. And as you're noticing that, you're also noticing another mounted creature, but this is a very large mounted creature that is appearing basically through the trees on something that isn't even really much of a marked path. And on it is riding some other large, dark creature. It appears to be a large dog or a large canine of some sort riding on an even larger, and as you get a bit closer to it, you can tell that it is definitely a hyena-sized kind of creature.
Not really knowing what it is, I'm gonna try to kind of hide behind a tree and tap Bob on the shoulder with my blessing of the trickster.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And just be like, shh, something's coming.
Okay.
On mounts. Should we be on mounts as well? I can transform into a panther and you go on my back.
I
Then
know,
you're also
we kind of missed the
mounted.
memo. Jesus Christ.
See, it's already starting. I love it. Okay. So, Putter, as you kind of get a...
We quickly go off the road alongside with Jella.
Okay, cool,
Am I
perfect.
going away from them or am I going towards them?
You haven't noticed them yet. That's the fun part.
Okay.
Just give me one sec here as I do a couple of minor changes to my map here. You haven't noticed them because you've been really paying a lot of attention to the redbud forest, and what you feel like is probably going to come at you is probably going to come at you from the trees, not from some open clearing. But as it turns out, as you get past a set of trees, you do now have no choice. You have to see it, but you are a lot closer to this creature than you originally thought you would, than you would have liked to have admitted. In fact, probably within pouncing distance. And what you do see is a hyena, a large hyena, with a dog-like humanoid riding on its back. And this is when they clock you, and they both just kind of stop and look at you and start growling.
I say, greetings. What are you doing in the forest and where is the closest town to get an ale?
All right. Fragger. Or Frar. Okay, here he comes. Okay, Frar, you hear this voice come from the other side of the tree that you've just chosen to hide behind. And now realize you're right along a path and hear this voice say the exact same thing. You do see the hyena and this humanoid stop and growl at it.
Can I sense hostile action, they're holding their weapons or something like that?
You sense that there is a set is more defensive at the moment, although it looks as though they might be ready to pounce. That's
All right, fuck
having
it.
watched them, I'm
I'm
giving that to you for free. But definitely, there's a sense of they're regarding each other and trying to figure each other out. Who is probably the most dangerous between the two groups, that kind of thing.
So I can safely say that there's danger.
There is definitely danger.
All
You
right.
just it just hasn't been launched yet.
I'm going out. I'm going out there, stomping, grabbing my battle axe, and I'm gonna go for the one on the mount, and I'm just gonna attack him straight up.
For sure. All right. Then if that's the case, we'll let him have the surprise attack because he definitely rolled high enough on that. But I'm still gonna have everybody roll initiative. Let's do
I'm waiting
this.
for an answer. Where the hell's the beer at?
We do need a map to
You might
to roll initiative.
Yeah, let's get that out here for you. And just as a quick reminder, when you are rolling initiative, you need to click your token first and then roll the initiative so it actually works properly.
There's 2 tokens here.
Oh, hang tight. So, Putter, you should already have a token on the map somewhere.
Oh, is this a change of luck? Because I used to get really bad rolls on Torina.
That is true. So, Putter, you'll actually be on the path out there.
I saw my character.
Ooh, wow.
Right there.
2 nat
That's where you will be
20s.
to start from at this point. Holy crap, nat 20s
Yeah.
all the way around.
Wait, so this is the enemy? Or is it
No,
this
the
one?
one that you've been following
He's
are
big.
these guys here.
All right, and he's talking
Oh, that-
with these guys.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna just smack him.
So yeah, the voice you heard, the voice frog that you heard on the opposite side of the tree, was Putter. The ones that you've been following are these very large things on the path.
Oh,
Bob and
wait.
Jed, I put you behind a rock.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's about right.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, wait. So,
So
hold on. So this is where the voice is coming from.
That's where the voice came from. This is the thing that you've been following.
All right, he's on his own.
Wait,
Uh,
he's riding a
It
drake.
appears.
I mean, well, no, I mean besides that.
Putter, yeah, you
Okay.
haven't quite completely seen what Putter is riding, but
Who
yes,
the
Bob.
hell- Who the hell comes in the campaign having a drake mount? Awesome.
All right,
love
go
it.
ahead and roll your attack there.
Wait, this is his mount?
Yes.
Oh, I was so confused. Okay, look, I have
Yeah,
to
sorry, I
admit,
don't like
I
putting
lose, so-
tokens on top of each other if I don't have to. That's the tough thing with Roll20, I suppose. They're actually working on being able to do layers, which is kind of
Oh,
cool, but we're not there
oh, yeah.
yet. So,
And Gnoll riding a hyena. I love it.
yeah. Oh, I don't have any
There's
of
a
that
turtle.
showing up. Why don't I have that showing up? Okay, I have to do.
I'd like to make
some
this a pushing attack, actually. If
You're
it's
gonna push it?
possible.
You're gonna try and push
pushing
it off the
attack.
mount.
Using my Battlemaster stuff.
Okay. You have the advantage of surprise.
Yeah.
So-
So it's 28.
Yeah. All right, so 28. How the heck am I gonna roll better than that? Let me find out.
28.
Yeah, let's see here. Let's go like this.
And we have to roll a strength save too, if for the
Yep.
push.
That's what we're gonna go for. Just pulling up the sheet. Here comes the strength. Yeah, they can't roll better than 28s, but I just wanted to see it anyway, so I rolled
why,
it
20, why 28? It needs to be
because he's got
13.
advantage from surprise.
Yeah, but no, you give a roll against the DC, not his attack roll.
That's true, actually. So yeah, all the same. All the same, it still beats. Like, my roll sucked. So yeah, you're easily able to just kind of suddenly spring out from the tree and basically body the knoll off of the hyena.
Yes.
Okay, but now he's on the other side of the hyena, and you're face to face with a great giant hyena. And that's the other person I got to get on here. I haven't given him initiative yet. I guess I should do that.
Just about to mention it here.
All right, let's get these guys some initiative, shall we? Da-da-da-da. One more on. And then this guy here also needs it too.
Ooh.
That is amazing.
Great rolls.
Perfect.
This might be our game.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Somehow it still
All
was
right.
before Jedi.
Yeah. Oh, and thanks, Dak. Yeah. Okay, so I'm actually going to take Dak's roll because you guys are going to like it on that giant hyena. Dak's roll was a 1
Oh.
on the Twitch chat. So that actually
Thanks,
turns
Dak.
him into a 3. That means the giant hyena and the Knoll Pack Lord are actually at the exact same initiative order. So I'm just going to take the hyena right off the initiative here. There. So all of our enemies are at the same point on the initiative. Putter, you notice as... Actually, I guess before I do that... no, that's pretty much it. Putter, you notice as you just finished saying, giving your greetings and asking for directions to Ale, Frar, what do you look like?
All right. So he is a big red half orc wearing. Hold on, I do have an art for this. I'll put it in the make a character chat.
Okay,
Just
then I'll
describe
update
it.
your token then. Yeah, go ahead and describe it for now.
No, it's just a sketch. He's
Okay, that's fine.
he's big, red, 6'5", and he has a helmet that covers most of his face. You can see his tusks, like his jaw jutting out with his tusks showing. He's wearing a kind of like a gambeson kind of armor with a heavy shoulder plate and gloves. He looks like someone who overdresses into a culture. And he has a
Okay.
big axe.
A big old axe, but he doesn't
Big
use the
old
axe.
axe.
He shoulders
uses
this
that.
canine
Shoulders.
humanoid off, and so you now see that he's been knocked off his mount. Putter, what do you do?
Okay, first of all, do I recognize the type of creature that was on the mount?
Roll a history check.
I did a nature. Okay, history.
Actually, you won't need to. I'm sorry. You're from the Stiag. Yeah, this is a knoll.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and hold my turn until I find out if he's gonna either walk away or attack. So I'll hold my turn, basically.
Fair enough. And just to be clear, are you waiting to see if the knoll attacks or if the half-orc
Exactly,
attacks?
or if he leaves.
Oh, so which one? The half-orc or the knoll?
No.
Okay, cool. Then that brings us to the
I
half-orc
wouldn't
again.
think I could barely see the guy behind the trees. The half orc.
Fair enough.
All right, I'm gonna do another pushing attack at the hyena to like send him towards the knoll. I'm guessing 18.
Okay.
hits.
Oh yeah. But if it's a pushing attack, when you hit a creature with a weapon. Yeah. So the pushing attack is. I need to see what that looks like. I'm gonna need to read that real quick just to make sure I get the mechanics that are right.
I put the description in the thing.
Oh, did you? Okay. I apparently need to go back and read.
The target is large or smaller.
So you're slashing and pushing at the same time.
Yeah, like
Okay.
throwing the weight of the axe.
Okay. Okay, well then yeah, I should have actually had you provide some damage to the knoll then on the first one too. So can you roll damage on the first one?
I did.
Yeah, he already did. It's 14.
Is it?
Where did it go?
14? Oh yeah, it is.
Nope,
14.
it's 10.
No. Sorry.
No, compared to the die, you get-
The spirit
Oh,
die,
okay,
this is
14, got
added
it.
with the attack.
So this one is
Wow,
21.
this guy's all right, and no, this one's 21. So yeah, you easily push the hyena, and it yelps, and it's a loud guttural yelp as you push it over. Yeah, it doesn't fall. Let's see here. Does it fall? It does not fall on the knoll. The knoll kind of pulls himself out of the way before it falls on him. But that's what 21 points of damage on that hyena. Oofda.
Hot damn. And so the hyena is like behind him.
Kind of behind him. They're both prone at the moment.
All right, well, I'm gonna step over them and just like
Actually, that's not true. I haven't done the strength saving throw to see if that. Well, the strength saving throw is. I don't know if the knoll or if the hyena is. No, the hyena is not prone. The hyena was able to step over and just kind of take the blow without falling over. However, the knoll itself, it fell prone beside the hyena.
all right. Yeah. So I'm gonna hold my ground here.
Okie doke. That's going to bring us to Bob. So Bob and Jetta, you went and hid, and you guys had really good perception rolls, so you guys can actually see just a little bit over, like you could see a little bit of commotion just beside the hill.
Looks like the guy got it handled. What do you think? We just stay and watch.
Yeah.
No need to
Let's get a fire
No
going.
need to. No need to.
Let's cook some stuff.
Let's say. Well,
Make some popcorn. Yeah.
let's just see what
All right.
happens. Let's say. Intervene when we need.
Exactly.
All right, so that's what your turn is. You're just chatting. Alrighty. So that's going to bring us to the knoll, who's going to get themselves back up. Has now got a new enemy to care about, and so is going to take. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, so it's going to just simply go straight towards you, Frar, and whip out a glaive and start from a bit of a distance, I guess, with his glaive, swing a couple of times at you. Chat, let's do this.
Wait, no, never mind. I was looking at the strength save.
Let's see this, chat. I gotta remember how I do this here. That's the one. Go ahead and roll for me. And actually, I'm going to get you to roll a couple if we can, chat. So the way you do that again, that is by writing out a exclamation mark, roll, and then 20 in the chat. And there it is. And it's a 5. It's a 5.
I will use my
Plus
reaction.
stuff. Hang on. I got to go figure.
Oh.
I got to find out what is plus. Yeah, so that's okay, and there comes so that is a total of 10 to hit, which I don't think 10 hits you.
Nope. Then I'd
right.
like to use my reaction for riposte and attack back.
You can use your reaction, expend one superior die to make a melee attack against the creature. If you hit, there you go. Yes, go ahead and see if you hit this thing.
11.
You do not hit this time,
Oh.
but that's okay. Dak, that was twice. Seriously, dude? He rolled another 5 for me, so it's another 10 to hit, so he misses you again. And yes, this time you're right, Putter. You get to throw out that Eldritch Blast. Unfortunately, it does miss. Unfortunately. However, it's now the
Eldritch Blast.
Up at the turn.
If an creature, okay. Yeah, it's actually going to bark a little bit at the hyena, who immediately just kind of reacts with. He is going to use his reaction to snap at you, and so this is going to be. Dak, I got to roll, dude. I'm sorry, man, but I got to roll once for me. I'm hopefully. There we go. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so 9 isn't going to hit on that reaction, but it was also his reaction because of the bark that the knoll just did. So here comes the hyena's actual action now to try to bite you. Please. There. Okay. Finally, we get a bite off on you. And that is going to cause you 14 points as he just locks onto your uncovered shoulder and just grips in with his teeth.
All right.
And the slobber starts dripping down your chest as well. That'll bring us to Putter.
Okay.
And an Eldritch Blast.
There, that one
Natural
hits.
20? No. So
Just a dirty 20 this time.
Yeah, 6 damage.
As this Eldritch Blast smacks across the side of the face of this gnoll, he kind of turns and looks at you and just growls back.
Is it okay if I can just go get my food real quick?
Oh, of course. Yeah, please eat.
Alright,
Food is
thank you.
necessary.
Thank you,
All
thank
right.
you.
And is that your turn then, Putter, or do you have more to go?
No, unfortunately not. That's my turn.
All right. That will bring us to Frar. What are you guys going to be doing, Bob and Jetta, while you're, like you said, you're going to pop some popcorn?
No, I was. We just
You might
meant,
have kobold jerky.
We just meant that
That is
it's
true.
a nice spectacle to watch, I think.
I'm going to say by this point in time, it's getting close to the dining hour anyway. So you guys might take a bit of a break before you guys keep on walking forward.
Seems the other guy is now also getting in between.
Yeah,
I
this
don't-
is
I don't see any.
quite a show.
So while we're doing this then, Putter, why don't you describe what they see?
Your
What they
character.
see of me.
Yes. What do they
Okay.
see when they look at Putter?
What you see is someone that looks elfish, but not quite elfish. It's white hair, brown skin, 5'10", 160 pounds.
So sorry about that.
And also, what you see, and he's finely clothed. He has a regal look about him. And the mountain he has also has a regal look about him. So he doesn't seem to be a standard adventurer, but more so I could say someone of importance. And you don't see him engaging in terms of melee. He's standing back and shooting stuff from his fingers.
I can see
Doggo!
your Drake mount on your lap.
I was just
Yeah.
gonna, yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, sorry, I forgot about the camera. He's dressed in black with purple lining.
Okay.
Okay.
Black with purple
And
lining.
he
Love
has
it.
an emblem on his chest of a spider in a web.
Ah.
And on a big Drake mount.
Yes.
Blue, to be clear.
Ooh, yeah.
Blue, yeah.
Which matches.
All right, that brings us.
No.
Yeah, it does. So, Frar, it is your turn.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna attack it once more.
All right. Yeah, that's gonna hit. Jeez, man.
Nice.
There we go. All right. 5. Now that was the hyena that you would have attacked if that's the case.
Yes, the hyena.
All right. The hyena takes a chunk of meat off its side and just yelps and kind of looks to the wound that you've just caused it. That's your turn?
And then no, hold on a bit.
Okay.
Where is it? Second wind. I'm gonna do a second wind.
Oh,
I'm really using all my stuff here.
Yeah. Hopefully, there's nothing else I throw at you tonight.
Hopefully, I get to have a rest before that.
So now you're gaining hit points equal to 1d10 plus your fighter level, which happens to be 4. So 11 points of healing back to you off of that. The wound that the gnoll left behind doesn't completely close up. Some of the saliva seems to prevent it from happening.
Hey,
But it does
What-
heal up quite a bit.
all right, sweet. And that's gonna be the end of my turn.
All right. Bob and Jetta, still cooking popcorn?
Three silver pieces that the red guy doesn't make it.
I'll take you on that.
All right, that brings us to
If
he's
anyone
distracted, but he's still gonna go
goes
for this
down,
Frar.
Jetta will step in.
Yeah, he's still gonna go for this. The glaive is gonna make some more attacks at you. Chad, Please, I'll let you try again. I'm letting this happen. I'm letting you try one more time. Let's see what happens. And you could get a few of these rolls in. I'll do one of them right now.
No, 4.
Darn it.
How
Oh,
many was
Dak.
it?
I so appreciate you sometimes. This might not be one of them. No, that's not true. I still appreciate you. Okay. Actually, I do need to roll a d6. I'm gonna need to find my dice here. Let's get the real sign of dice. Real dice happening there. That did not give me what I needed, but that's okay. So 2 more attacks. One of them was a 9 to hit. The second one is a 21 to hit
It hits.
for you, Frar. All right. And so that's going to... You're going to take an additional...
6.
It's actually just the 6 points of damage here.
All right.
Yeah, so 6 more points of damage. And then the hyena looks at you kind of with a little bit, with his ears folded back a little bit. You've caused him some damage. But he can't run away now, so he's going to try and bite you again.
It hits.
I don't know if you saw that on your screen. On my... Did the other dice knock the 19 over into a nat 1?
I didn't.
Okay, on my screen, it rolled out as a 16 and a 19, and the 16 actually knocked with the first dice over into a nat 1. But apparently it took it
I
as the
wish it
19,
did.
so it's... I know,
I wish it
right?
was
But it
a
was
nat
still the
1.
16 that rolled. So it's a bite from the hyena. You get 9 points of piercing damage as it clomps onto the... It kind of decides not... Obviously, the shoulder didn't work, and it grips onto your arm. And starts kind of shaking it and tearing a little bit of your arm off. Apart, I should say. That's going to bring us to Putter.
Okay. Putter's going to charge with his mount and try to knock the knoll onto the ground, as well as hopefully my mount will attack.
Okay,
And
you
as I
can give
do
it the
that,
command for
I'm
sure.
going to drop off like 10, 15 feet away. If
Okay,
that's possible.
I don't think now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I gave you control over it, so I'm going to give you control over your mount so that you can be the person to actually operate it.
I'm trying to find
no, I
out
can't.
what his attacks are and stuff like that.
Right, let's get that for you. This is, where are we here? Where is that? Blue Guard Drake. Let's go. I'm going to put this in the character section right underneath yours and give you control. So, can be controlled by Putter and is in Putter's journal. All right, should appear in your journal now.
Okay, so the first thing is, I would assume maybe it's the same size. 1 second, it's coming up.
They're actually quite a bit different in size because the knoll is the same size
As the Drake.
for the most part. You're both medium creatures.
I should have also negotiated a lease car at the start of the new campaign. My god, a multi-attack Drake
Okay,
mount.
well,
What the fuck?
Well, I'm waiting for the Drake window to pop up. I'm going to go ahead and attack with the Eldritch Blast again.
Okay, Eldritch Blast away.
No, I'm not going to do that either.
Is it not working for you?
Yeah, I'm getting a timeout.
Oh, okay. So then here's what we'll do is we'll get you to type it into the chat instead. So for your Eldritch Blast will be a d20 plus your spell attack, which is 6. So a 1d20 plus 6. And for your Drake's attacks, they would be 1d20s plus 5.
Oh, never mind, it's back.
Oh, there you go. Eldritch Blast. That definitely hits. 7 points of force damage just as the Drake approaches or arrives. He takes 7 points of force damage, just a great big punch to the gut. Your blue guard drake can now do his attack. Did that one open up for you?
+5 to hit.
Yes, +5 to hit. $15.
I assume I hit.
Just hits.
Well, no, that's I just.
Oh,
it's
you didn't put the
15
+5 on.
5.
Oh yeah. No,
Right.
that
So
definitely
there's
hits.
1d8 plus 3 piercing.
Yes. So roll a d8. You can actually put the
So
+3 right in.
5, 8.
8
damage.
points of damage. Yeah, this knoll is not looking all that pretty. He's looking a little bloodied up, but he's still up. And that is going to bring us to Frar. Frar, it's your turn.
No, he gets a tail attack also.
Oh, that's right. Go for it.
My
The
direct.
same
So
roll.
That's also +5 to hit.
Yep.
Ooh, natural one.
And it's a nat 1. Yeah, so... Yeah, okay, so the Drake does a little spin move to try to smack the knoll with his tail. And in doing so, you guys have been traveling for a long time. Your Drake is actually a little bit on the tired side. And he actually ends up losing his footing as he's trying to swing his tail around. Just kind of ends up putting his back to the knoll instead.
Okay.
All right, there we go. Frar, your turn.
All right. Let me just put my rice here. I smack it.
Smacky, smacky. Roll for smacking.
Bonk it.
Damn, he's good.
Roll for bonk, and your bonk is successful. Woofda! You take a solid chunk right into the neck, just behind the skull, and it sinks in deeply. He's hurt.
Oh, he's not dead? Holy shit.
Not yet. He's bad.
Ooh.
Like he's now wincing and whimpering for sure.
All right, I'm gonna. Can I use like I don't know, like a bonus action? Oh wait. Oh, okay. I'm gonna use a. No, never mind. Can I make a like scare it, threaten it?
You can certainly try. How would you do it?
I am going to crack my neck.
Just
Yeah, just like a real long one, like that. You know what I mean? Can you
all
hear
right.
that? On the mic?
I heard that. I heard that. Roll.
Yeah.
I'll roll for intimidation. Go for it.
Ooh,
Okay. And is that your turn?
that's my turn.
All right, Bob and Jetta, what you doing?
What
This
is it?
fancy guy looks like he needs help. I feel kind of like a dick standing around.
Oh,
So I'll step forward and cast Guiding Bolt on the hyena.
that's not fair. The bet is off like this. If you're gonna help,
Fine.
Yeah.
I will lose
Are you-
my 3 silver.
Are you still gonna throw out your guiding bolt?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. You throw out the guiding bolt. Awesome. Bob, I'll give you a chance to do something too. If you could see in Jetta that she's about to launch something, and you probably would notice.
I would push away her hand so that the guiding bolt shoots into the air instead, preventing
and
her
that's-
from interfering
Yeah.
from the bet.
What
All
the
right,
fuck,
so-
man? I'm
So,
changing the bet.
Like an unhelp action instead of a help
Unhelped
action.
action. So your guiding bolt is with disadvantage now, and the 9 definitely misses.
Thanks. I'm
Don't.
gonna start.
I want to see what happens.
So
I'm gonna
Putter
start
and
running
Frar.
forward.
Sure.
Um,
Put.
Sorry.
That's right. Putter and Frar. You see as what's the color of your guiding bolt again?
Purple.
Yeah, so you see this purple streak of light just kind of shoots out into the air just over the trees to your left, which is on our map. It's on the right-hand side, but still, the pink this purple bolt of energy just kind of goes out. It's not like lightning; it's just a streak, and that's it. And Jetta, you said you're running out.
Yeah, and then you just hear "fuck you, Bob."
All
This
right.
means I win.
All
I
right,
stay
that
at
brings
the-
us.
I stay at the boulders.
All right. that means that our Knoll Pack Lord, well, I got to roll for something here on him because of that. I had him all planned out, and then you decided to, not throw a guiding bolt at him. Yeah, okay, he's still gonna do this. So he's gonna try and run away now. The Drake will get one attack of opportunity, except that because he's facing away, he won't get it. And he's too far away from Frar. Actually, Frar, what's your weapon again?
Yeah.
Great.
Great axe.
It's food. Great accents.
Sorry.
Okay, so
where
I don't.
does he run to? To
He's
north,
gonna
south,
run
east, or
down.
west?
He's gonna run. Well, on the map, he's gonna run down on the map.
Towards you.
So he's gonna run
Does
away
Putter get
that
an
general
attack of
direction.
opportunity?
Sorry, say again.
Do I get an attack of opportunity as he's running away?
No, because you're not in melee. That only happens on melees. So he's going to run away. He's going to see Jeddah pop out, and then he's going to say, "Oh, nope," and start going this way instead. Let's get it so everybody can see. Kind of. There we go. So, well, we'll go right there because that's the next people up. All right. Let's get up. There. That's the one I wanted to hit. There we go. All right, that's going to bring us to the hyena, who's now on his last legs. Maybe even close to actually that being true. He's going to... No, you know what? The hyena is dumb. He's going to see his rider running away. And so, Frar, you get an attack of opportunity.
Yeah. Oh.
That's a shame.
Frar, did you get your roll out?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, there it is. Got it. Sorry. Yeah, definitely doesn't hit. So, the hyena is just also going to run away, and just kind of get out in front of, not running really all that great, limping pretty badly, but still run out with the knoll. That brings us to Putter.
Putter's gonna jump on his mount and give chase.
All right. I'll
So
move those
I don't know how
tokens
we
for
want
you.
to-
What's
You will?
the...
It's 30 feet.
Yeah. 30 feet. Now, in order for the mount, for you to jump on the mount, that actually takes half of your movement. So you could
Okay.
get to like 30 feet here. If you're going to give chase, you'd probably end up like there-ish. It's
Okay,
not
but I want to
quite
be able
far
to cast
enough.
a spell. Can I do that?
Yeah, you can certainly do that still.
Okay, I'm gonna do the old Eldritch Blast.
All right. That just
15.
hits. 5 points of damage. Just in the back of the head. Pff, knocks the head forward.
But he's still on his feet.
And he's still on his feet. Doesn't look like he's on his feet well, but he's on his feet.
Okay.
That end your turn?
I can't do anything else, so yeah.
All right, Frar, it's up to you now.
all right. Let's see. I'm gonna use my dash action. Oh, hold on, I was here, right?
Yep.
I get 60 movements, right?
That's right.
So I move over here.
Okay.
And let me just look at something real quick. Okay, never mind. I guess I hold my. Can I try and grapple? The grapple is an action, right?
It is, yeah.
All right, then I guess that ends my turn.
All right. Bob, Jeddah just bolted away from you. It is your turn, though.
Wait, Jeddah. I just casually walk after her 30 feet, not even using my action or anything, just waving for her to stop.
All right. And you do see all of this pack just basically bolt out across the path too. That brings us to Jeddah.
They're fine.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get a little bit closer. 5, 10, 15. Ah, I can't count today.
I still want to shout, by the way,
Here.
you don't know if they're good guys.
You always have to assume the best intentions. And then I'm gonna say, sup, fancy dude. And then I'm going to cast Toll the Dead on the Knoll.
Sure. That's a wisdom save, right?
Mhm.
Let's get the chat to roll that one out for me.
DC 15.
DC 15. Oh, I typed that wrong. All right, chat. Let's turn this into something interesting. Let's see here. Does it save? It's hurt. So no, that's not going to save. That was a 7 on the dice. And the wisdom has no modifier. You maxed that out
I did,
on a
yeah.
D12? Yeah, tell me how it dies.
So Jeddah runs out, holds out her hand, and you just hear this giant bell go gong, and its eyes like shrivel away with just like this mess of like blood, and it falls over.
So as this bell goes, so you've just hit it with an eldritch blast. It knocked the head forward, and then all of a sudden you can see this, like the head seems to have this vibration, and you can hear the sound, but it doesn't seem to affect you. As the head just kind of he just kind of barrel rolls in front of himself and folds himself in half, falling dead. But that doesn't mean that the hyena's done. The hyena is going to still try to take off. That is going to be an attack of opportunity for Frar.
11.
11 does not hit. As you swing, and he just kind of tucks his butt in a little bit as he's running, and he just goes. As soon as he sees that you guys are still holding on to him, he just goes like 100 feet away from you. Off the map.
Sorry to backtrack. Would I be able to use my bonus action?
You have a bonus action. Go for it.
I'll do a spiritual weapon.
Yeah. Hang on. Toll the Dead's cantrip. So yeah, you could totally do that. So go ahead. You know what? Just roll out the spiritual weapon. I don't want to go and find your spiritual weapon if it's just going to be the last thing that happens in the battle.
Yeah.
Natural 20. Oh my gosh.
You're dead.
Oh my goodness. Very.
I'm
you're
just curious what that would have been. Oh, never mind. Why is it a save? That's dumb.
Why? Yeah. Why does
You
that
need
do
to,
that?
You need to press the spiritual
Oh,
weapon.
yeah.
not
Click the
show
words
spell description.
spiritual weapon. Let's show spell description. Yeah.
Oh. There we go. That's better.
Would have been 19 points of damage. Jeez, man. What does your spiritual weapon look like? Because Putter hasn't seen it.
So Jeddah just kind of changes it depending on the situation and what she would think is funny. So in this case, since it's a hyena, I would just say like a giant like cat toy.
I love it.
Exactly.
So, this large squeeze toy mouse suddenly appears above this hyena's head. Petter, you're seeing all this. First of all, you see the head shake and then the knoll fall over. And then this large floating spectral mouse is not so spectral, actually. It's actually very corporeal. But it just drops on the hyena's head, and the hyena does a somersault over its dead body, too. That is going to bring us out of initiative. And Putter, as we are now coming out of initiative, you're going to turn to your right. You've now seen the red half orc, but you've now also noticed that there is another creature not completely dissimilar to you there as well.
I didn't need the help.
Oh,
Hello. I'm Jeddah.
Hi, Jetta. My name is Putter. What language do I want to see? I'm gonna second. I speak Abyssal to you. Are you half elf?
She actually wouldn't understand it. She would just say, "Huh?
Okay, I say in Elvish. You look, brethren.
Ah, yeah, I got you there." I respond in Elvish.
Okay, pleasure to meet you. My name is Putter Leoborn.
It's nice to meet you. Fancy
Nice
mount you
meeting
got
you.
there. What's up
Well,
with
thanks. It's
the
not actually. It's
hyena
the
and the?
family's. It's the family's mount. It's not really my mount. I
Oh,
promise
ooh,
to return him once I get
nice.
to my destination.
Where are you heading?
I haven't found my destination yet. I'm looking for a party. I've decided to leave the family for a while to prove my worth.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I have a companion back there. Uh, his name's Bob. We've been traveling together. We just came from this super sketchy citadel thing, and we sort of started like a goblin revolution and killed a bunch of things, and it was pretty fun.
Frar,
Well,
Yes.
I'm
killing
just going to
stuff's
jump in
fun.
there for a quick second because Frar, you are now standing over top of a dead hyena and a dead gnoll, and these other two people just started talking behind you.
I look between them and say, I didn't need any help.
You sure
I
about
was
that?
doing fine. Yes, they're invaders. I take care of these things.
What are we?
That depends.
Well, I would like to check buddies if you don't mind. Who knows? There might be magic among the items or treasure.
I just gesture to it and, like, really uncaringly just shrug off.
I'm sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
A lot easier. Okay, I'm gonna check the knoll in the hyena mount if there's like a saddlebag or anything.
Okay. Um, you can check to see. Yeah, go ahead and roll an investigation check.
Sorry, I had to step away for a moment. Did Jeddah already approach the group, or?
Jeddah has just approached the group and just introduced you as well.
Oh, well, hi.
Completely empty. He has nothing of worth on him. I say.
So what you do find on this knoll is his weapon. You find the glaive that he had. You also find a longbow that he obviously did not feel as though he had enough time to utilize intelligently. And a quiver of 20 arrows.
Never seen this
There's-
creature before.
I look towards the creature and then to Bob and say, what was I gonna say?
Bob, what's the answer?
It's been a while since I've met somebody who's almost as big as me. Glad to meet you. My name is Bob.
I
Bob Moss.
look at his. Is he like extending a hand or something?
He has big, broad arms and big forearms and a huge hand. He's 7 feet tall, very broad in the shoulders, even broader than you are, but more to the chubby side than the masculine side.
I lightly nudge at his chest, like a bro fist,
I
and say, I'd like to take you on one day.
Oh, I don't like to brawl that much, but I have to admit, I bet against you. We saw you fight and handle yourself. I bet 3 silver that you would not pull through, but seems our new friend here got in the middle, and you didn't have a chance to prove yourself. So,
And then I look towards Jeddah and so like, you didn't stay with the bet?
well, she thought you would
Wait,
have
what?
taken.
Oh, yeah. I would have owed Bob anyway, so here's 3 silver,
There are
Bob.
rules to these.
I kind of changed the rules, so I owe you.
Well, she's a little bit trigger happy, so if there's a fight, she jumps in.
Yeah, it looks fun. And I
Jeddah.
felt like a dick just standing around.
Jeddah, you hear in your ear, marvelous.
And
Top tier.
then I just give him finger guns.
And you are, sir, with your weird-looking... Is that a dragon?
My name is Putter Leoborn. I travel from far up north, looking for adventure and a way to prove myself to my family.
Jeddah, I'm going to
I'm
get you to
much
roll a hit.
more than what they.
Sorry, Potter, carry on.
No, I'm much more than what they think, especially my grandfather.
And that
So,
one
Jeddah, I'm going to get you to roll a history check.
does that one bite? And I point at the drake.
No, he's quite friendly.
Can I pet
He's
him?
a family Steve. Yes.
And I walk up to the...
What's your armor class? That's
That's
not my.
very,
That's not my.
very low.
No, that's my deck. My mount's back at home.
I don't.
So
I can. I just described my size, but I am a furbolg, so I have soft blue skin. I'm like I just told, a bit big in size, and there's also like I'm just wearing I think a leather suit with moss growing everywhere, much nature and leaves and stuff. So
do I notice? Are you carrying like lots of weapons on you, or
no,
you have a staff? What do you have?
on me I have a staff on my back. It's not a very big one compared to my body. Also not a thing that I use a lot. And you will see me more like having a few stones that I play around with in my pocket.
Okay.
Playing with stones in your pockets, guy?
Yeah. So I'm playing with side pocket,
Okay.
and not
It's like,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, sure.
but very druid vibe. So I'm a druid.
Bob, I'm going to get you to roll for me an animal handling check, and while you're doing that, Jeddah, why don't you describe what Putter sees when they see you?
Yeah. So Jeddah is
Killing
a 6 foot tall drow. And she has a long white braid, darker skin, and red eyes. And yeah, you get the sense that like she's drow but doesn't really act like it, if that makes sense. So a little bit more free and just kind of all over the place.
Would she recognize my family name?
Not with that history roll.
Oh, okay.
I forgot to mention my huge afro, by the way.
Oh yeah,
It's just like Bob Ross, of course.
Bob Ross afro, all over it, with the ears to stick out and everything. So as you approach, the Drake looks to you and kind of nuzzles towards a pocket that you have, and you immediately recognize, oh, it's jerky he's going for. And so you offer the jerky that you found from the Citadel.
You like some dragon jerky? Here you go. And feed it. Cobalt jerky.
Very kind.
Have a little meepo. Here you go.
Hmm. Was that
Too
cobalt
soon.
meat
Too
or
soon.
Dried meat, yeah, jerky.
okay?
Jerky meat from a kobold that we had as a friend. We made jerky out of it, I think.
That's really evil.
Something like that.
It was an
This
accident.
to be clear, this is not actually Meepo meat. Meepo did not have enough of him left to actually make jerky out of. This was found later on amongst the goblins. But
Who made?
okay,
Who made jerky from? Yeah.
It's so messed up.
I play around.
Okay.
I play around with the Drake.
So there's a bow and another weapon on the ground if someone wants to take it. I have no interest.
Oh, I'm
What kind of bow is it?
I'm less interested in.
A longbow.
I am not proficient in that. Never mind.
Less interested in his weapons and more what he's doing here. What was your reason to attack him? What did you say your name was?
I
didn't
was
catch your name actually.
Fra.
You're the big red one.
Fra.
Fra.
Did you
Fra.
come from near or
Fra.
far?
With a
No,
at the
my-
end. Let me
What?
just pronounce it properly.
Jeddah,
Yeah.
inspiration. PM inspiration.
Is that supposed to be a joke?
Yeah. I mean,
a
it's
good
funny,
one.
right?
It is a good one.
Thank you.
But I do
no.
come from far.
You said you didn't need any help earlier, but you look
No.
a little beat up. Do you need any healing?
No,
Are you sure?
I am fine.
Okay.
What's more is that I'm wondering if there are more of these.
But why did you attack this one?
Because it's a danger.
It looked like it was not doing very well against you in battle.
He was going to attack him.
And I point towards the regal man.
Do you have any idea if this one was following you?
No,
guess
but I was
Putter.
following.
No, I'm asking Putter.
Oh, okay.
nope. I just came across him. He was very stealthy. He was sneaking in the forest. Unbelievably
Yeah.
stealthy. I don't know how anybody saw him.
But
I'm gonna say just for a quick one there, Bob. You saw him from a good solid 80 feet away, so that gives you a little bit of pause when Putter says that.
Yeah, I had a perception of 2.
To be honest, dressed like that and with a mount like that, you tend to call attention to yourself, I would say. You get mucked a lot.
Usually people
Ambushed.
respect when I walk by. I have very little to fear.
It's probably because of the thing you're riding, I would say.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah. I wouldn't dare to attack somebody riding a dragon. Is it a dragon, by the way? I've never seen a dragon before.
No, it's
Oh, I
just
like
a
that.
just a
That's
standard beast. Just a standard beast.
A
I think you
walking
guys
dragon.
call it in common a drake, I think.
So now, Jeddah, you're going to be familiar with drakes.
Okay.
And you're going to be familiar with the fact that they are very definitely used as the standard mount by a traveling nobility of, and by nobility, when I say nobility from the United Hordes of Stiag, it's not so much that they are like, it's not really a kingdom. It's more of a, almost like a political kind of power that they have instead. And it's not even commercially based. It's not wealth that puts them there. It is influence that puts them in positions of power, and therefore the ability to have access to such things as a Drake mount.
So you're from Stiag then?
Help me out here, Wendy.
Sure. Yes, you are.
Okay.
We can pick cities later if you would like, but you are definitely from Stiag, and you're definitely of one of those houses that are, generally speaking, considered the most among the more powerful ones that follow Stiagsa, the god. Stiagsa is the monster kind god that seems to have provided safety for a lot of the monster kind from all those other humanoids that don't understand.
Okay.
We fought a real dragon back in the catacombs. Did you know that?
Barely.
One that was...
What type of dragon?
It was a white one.
Was it made of stone and marble?
No, it was a real one. It blasted frost and almost killed us.
Well, we did talk
Wow.
about it behind its back.
Well, I just wanted to befriend it, but it didn't agree.
You are warriors.
Kind of.
Maybe we can have a talk later how to befriend a dragon. You must have some knowledge, Potter.
We can call it How to
Lost.
Train Your Dragon.
How to Train a Dragon, Part 2.
Then what brings
As-
you here?
I feel a legal thing coming up.
I feel only please guys, they just changed the copyright infringement stuff for Twitch. Don't do that to me. Okay. The light in the sky is starting to get a little bit more purpley as the sun is beginning to set off to the west, which will be in relation to the map. If you guys can still remember the map, it would have been on the right hand side because we were opposite. The compass was upside down, but still. So really, the gnolls were running away from you guys and yet out to open fields towards Ogopogo Bay. So I'm not sure that they were actually putting too much thought into that. But it is starting to get low. And Faraj just asked you, so what's your purpose, basically?
So how are we ruling this? Random muck or random ambush or something we should investigate?
I have a camp nearby if you wish for respite.
A camp. Oh yeah, I was thinking more of a row, but
I would like.
Well, you would
sun
know
is
you're
setting.
about
I
5
would
hours away
enjoy
from
camping
Ruru.
with you guys.
it's getting dark, you said.
Yeah, we could camp and then head up the town later.
Very well. I will
So
join.
Fry,
There's no fine inns in the area, is there?
No.
Hole in the stars.
Okay, fair enough.
so Fry, you're going to take him to your camp?
Extravagance has been robbed from this place.
And then I look around to all the chopped trees.
There's actually, you do see that there is a lot of trees that have had, it's not so much that they've been chopped, but all of the regrowth is fairly new. There's a lot of regrowth on all of these trees.
Oh. It's only a matter of time.
And then I guess I lead them to my camp.
All right. So then with that, I am going to get, well, you're being led by Frar, so it's not going to take much effort at all for you guys to be led to the camp. Frar, I'm going to give you lots of opportunity here because I have no idea what your camp looks like. And now you get to go ahead and design it. So when they come to your camp, what are they going to find?
All right. So there is, it's actually in like the heavier or the denser kind of area, but he made like a small clearing, like maybe like, let me see if I can get like a size really quick, like maybe around. Oh, God damn it, not this one. Like maybe kind of like this area, 20 feet around. And
okay.
in the middle of it is a stone fire pit, which has a little bit of burnt dried wood that's supposed to be used for later. And for the tent, it's actually like a bunch of covered up branches like covered up in leaf, kind of made into a kind of like a square enough to fit in a bedroll, made with mud and sticks. I have a mud hut.
The way to
And
Campfire?
camp, A campfire is on the center fire pit.
Okay.
Still not lit. And there is a stump where it has been hollowed out, and inside has a bunch of random junk.
Well, when you said camp, I didn't
Like-
mean you really meant camp.
What did you
Why?
expect when I say
Oh.
camp?
Well, nice little setup you made for yourself.
It's where I live.
It took about
Permanently?
an hour to get to here.
No,
So-
temporary.
The sun is now definitely quite low, to the point where it's just about ready to disappear beyond the horizon. So it is, and so it's all behind trees. It's getting quite dark. You guys can light a camp and make yourselves camp here at this point in time.
Yeah, I'll turn on the fire.
Yep.
Turn on the fire. Just
Turn on the
flip
fire.
that switch. There we go. I love it. Okay, so and he's lived out here for a while, so it doesn't take him much effort to collect the wood that he needs from deadfall. He does not. You'll notice that the tree branches that he takes, and Bob might actually take most notice of this, that the fuel that he uses is for his fire. Is always deadfall, and something that's been rotted or been collected from other parts of the forest where some timber has just been left to rot or something to that effect. So he's been very careful to not make sure no green wood ends up inside the campfire.
I'm gonna check the wood that he picks. I'm gonna check the wood that he picks to look for any beetles. And I'll
Sure.
explain that reason why later.
Sure, roll an investigation check for me while we're at it, or a survival or a survival, one or the other. Let's go. No, actually, that pretty much that covers it at this point in time. So you guys settle in yourselves around this camp. You don't really have, Jenna and Bob, a lot of camping materials with you unless you took something from the Citadel, which there wouldn't be a lot
Really?
except for burlap sacks. Oh yeah, and you're totally able to find. There's a variety. There's when you lift one of them up, you do see a large quantity of maggots that seem to be more kind of being cared for by a bunch of beetles, and the beetles are very much like juniper beetles or spruce beetles. Nothing, not spruce, I guess. That would more like a common beetle for the most part. Lady beetles in other locations, but they're much more solitary, so they're not in a group. But you just find a variety of different insects there that you can use.
I'm gonna take some rotten wood, a little bit of rotten wood, and put all the beetles and larvae into the bag, into a bag.
All right.
So I don't have my backpack anymore. Is that what you're saying?
No, you do have your backpack. If you had that stuff, you just wouldn't have had anything more than just that.
Yeah. Well, there's a bedroll in the backpack if you start. So
Same.
I would just start also because it's like a one-man camp. So I will also start to collect wood and not breaking off branches of trees, but finding dead wood and like make a little hut to fit more people, like an extension.
You'd have to do a little bit of looking for that wood. So why don't we go for a investigation or survival check as well?
All right. That's what I would spend my time on until it's finished. Let's see, survival 13.
Yeah, survival, pretty good actually. So, it doesn't take long for you to realize that a lot of the dead wood that's right beside the camp has probably already been picked out and used by Farrar, and so you kind of get a glimpse of the lay of the land. There's a little bit of an uphill from the camp as well. That you can go up, and you do find that there's more dead wood from there that you can collect, and so you're able to find, after about a half hour of looking in that general area, without too much hassle, a bunch that you can use. And you've got a pretty good sense for the forest anyway, so finding your way back to the camp isn't hard.
And if the hut is done and there's still time to sleep, I am just gonna scavenge forage, I should say, around for some mushrooms and other stuff to cook something.
Sure. Well, with with that check, I'll say that you'll easily be able to find a bunch of mosses that kind of grow around some mushrooms that just kind of come out like plates on the north side of some of these trees. No problem able to find those. And I'm trying to find the other thing I needed here. This one here. Okay, cool. So, Farrar, you're also fairly aware that while you've kind of got yourself a nice little setup, you've also tried to make sure that you're very unassuming and basically like one with the forest after a fashion. So, you also know that on occasion, the random animal may, stumble nearby your camp after the fire is out. And so you've had a couple of different deterrents set up around your camp as well to make sure that they don't stumble upon you. The and they just end up being mostly. And Bob, you will have noticed these as you're going out and about too. You wouldn't have had to do much more looking for them, but you'll notice that there's a variety of different noisemakers, bells, or something like that, or just wind chimes, kind of things that have been placed on trees around to try to deter too many creatures from coming nearby the camp. But Farrar, you're also aware that sometimes sleeping half-orcs make for easy meals for large predators. And so you kind of have learned over the past while to keep half an eye open. Having these people around your camp, while it makes you slightly uncomfortable, it also helps you realize maybe there's an opportunity for you to, actually get real sleep.
Maybe now that I have some people here, I can actually get some real sleep.
I don't mind watching over you guys. It's been more than a 10 day that I've seen the stars with my eyes. We've been underground constantly. It feels like I need to recharge. See the moon.
I am going to
Maybe.
retcon one word you chose there. I'm going to be particular on it because the word would be Elven Day in Olivos.
Sorry, in Elven Day.
Yeah, in Olivos it's 11-day weeks.
Yeah. I've heard you said it before. I was like, okay, is that a different name? But no, okay, an Elven Day. More than an Elven Day.
Then maybe you'll allow me a favor for letting you stay here.
Here you rest, my new friend. Things will be fine.
Then, are we going to
No,
figure out what we're
it's
doing
something
with all of
else.
this in the morning?
I want to travel with you.
Well, I think we're just going uptown, just a few hours that way. But
Yes,
I was going to show
we
Bob
need
the
to
tavern.
travel.
It's been a while since we've gotten drunk.
I came here for a reason, but it seems it's not ready yet. I'm still young.
if you want, I can read your horoscope sometime.
My what?
Anybody's destination can be read in the stars.
No, I prefer to have mine as it goes.
Very well. And you, Sir Potter, what was your destination? You were on the road.
As said before, I am looking for adventures. I am looking to make a stronger name to my family, to increase the influence that my family has
But you were
and the power that my family has.
traveling south, so that must mean you were on your way to Roro as well, I guess.
This is honestly, this is the first time I've traveled by myself. Usually we have people that take care of the navigation and tell us where to go. We go there, we have meetings, and then we leave. This is the first time I've been by myself. So I could have been lost, or I could have been just looking around.
Well, Jedi knows the way at least. I'm local, but super local. My tribe lives across from the bay in the forest, and we tend to be on ourselves. Actually, the first time in 70 years that I'm out on my own and right away got trapped in some citadel. If it wasn't for Jeddah and
Yeah.
her
That was
friends,
unlucky.
if it wasn't,
Extremely unlucky.
if it
That is
wasn't
true.
Jeddah and her friends, I probably would have still been stuck there in that room full of Skeletors that came to life every few days.
Hmm. Well, if it's okay with you all, I'd like to join you into the town, and then maybe we can go someplace for an adventure after you do your business in the town.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That log is
But
pretty.
they have a nice inn in the town.
Um, Rubber probably not.
Then we'll stay there a short period. We do your business and we go.
So who's going to take
That's
first
the
watch?
idea.
I will.
I only need to meditate for a few hours and I'm good to go. Actually, I think you're the same.
Same.
So
Yep.
why don't we let them all rest and you meditate 4 hours, I'll watch, let me meditate. And then
I will
we'll
stay
be
up
okay.
a little bit myself for the stars. But
Okay.
if you can take watch, it means I can concentrate to the sky instead.
The really interesting stuff is underground and the
All right,
caverns.
so Putter, good point actually. But Putter, I'm gonna get you to roll for me a perception check then.
Oh, you don't want that, or I don't want that.
You
Hello.
just take it, and then Jenna, get
Did it
ready
pop
for
up
yours
yet?
as well.
Okay.
Not quite yet, no. There we go. Oh, good. There you go. A 3. Of course.
Maybe it's a bad idea that I keep watching.
So, Putter, before you take your
Yes,
trance,
sir.
you haven't taken your trance. It's been quite a while. You spend a little bit of time trying to settle your drake into a very dense brush and kind of carve out this little base nearby in a tree. Not actually in the camp, just kind of give it a bit of space for itself. And then you tie it up to a tree. And yeah, that'll be good enough. And then you walk away. The okay, thanks Dak. You settle yourself in and you start to kind of regard some of these people who you just like they're brand new to you. You're looking at the half orc who's now put himself under his own little makeshift shelter, and for the first time since you see him, you kind of get this sense that of a little bit more about what kind of stature he carries. He doesn't carry himself like these foreigners in Wesmia do. He carries himself with some strength and maybe even with some hurt. And you kind of get the sense that maybe he's come from, maybe not from nobility in Stiag, but maybe from some other relationship there too. It doesn't quite fit with some of the commoners that you've seen before, but there's something there. You might have to ask him about it tomorrow.
Okay.
Watching Jeddah, the only place you've ever heard of Drow ever existing has been in Stiag, particularly in the Underdark. And of course, what's interesting about the Drow is they don't necessarily come by way, and being half Drow, this is kind of normal for you in that you are actually born, but she doesn't appear and act as though she was born into her half Drow. So you get the sense that she's maybe one of those that just randomly appear in the Underdark for no known reason. She's just there. As for Bob, he's the most interesting one of all of them for you, because you've never seen a furbolg before. This is weird. And he's taller than even the half orc. He's big, but he just looks so dang cuddly. And so it's unusual that you would see something like this amongst humans and elves. It doesn't seem right to you that the wild elves and the humans would actually allow a creature like this in their country. Something's weird about that. And yet, you also understand.
But I don't read him. You're saying, do I read him as someone lesser, more of a beast than a humanoid?
You read him as something that you think the humans and elves would have read as lesser than humanoid.
Okay.
So it's actually perhaps now that
Because
you're
as
looking
my
at him,
character right now, the way he behaves,
as
I
you're
was just saying the way he
looking,
behaves now, I don't see that. I
exactly.
would see him more of a, no.
Yeah, exactly. You're starting to have some preconceptions questioned. If they would allow somebody like this around,
And as you're
maybe
observing,
they're
and as you're observing
Maybe-
him, and you can see as he looks to the sky and the stars, that several joints on his body light up as bright lights start shining from it, as like a star constellation forms on his body in the shape of a dragon. In the
In the
distance,
shape of a
a little
dragon.
bit in the distance, yeah, like a skipping dragon over the sky.
And what's interesting about this, and for the history side of things, monsterkind has never gotten along well with the humans and elves from Wesmia. They've always had a real challenge. And so we've been taught that humans and elves hate monsters. They hate goblins, they hate kobolds, they hate hobgoblins, and they seriously don't understand how drow could exist. They don't get it. But then there's this furbolg right here beside you, and it makes you wonder. But that's
Okay.
also where we're going to stop for the night, or for the day. We'll pick up on Jedda's
For the day.
watch, and on next session.
Yes, so I made it through. I made it through with that 3 perception. Thank God.
The so and for interest's sake, when you guys come back, you guys have all of Olivos ready for you to go. I have no idea where you're going
Ooh.
except for Roru, and I am totally excited for it. So
So, do we have to make that decision before you start writing up the stuff? I'm guessing.
no, if I'm not ready, I will just have to make it up on the spot. DM,
Are you sure?
DM life, absolutely.
That's professionalism. I like that.
All right, so we will be now, just as a schedule stuff for everybody who's watching on this Twitch, we have our next session is going to be on Friday again next week. Then we're going to have actually a 2-week break for Easter. And then we'll be back right after that on the 20, I think it's the 28th. I'd have to look at the calendar, but I think that's what it is. But we will have our next session, and looks to me like everybody wants to go ahead and, get drunk for on the
29th.
next session. So that's, is it the 29th? Oh, spectacular.
Wait,
Okay.
are we actually doing that?
It sounds to me like you are. You guys get to decide still though.
Ooh, I kind of like that. Although I'm not a big fan on drinking myself, but I will smoke something.
Oh well, what I mean by that is the characters are going to do that. Just to
God
be
damn
clear.
it,
Okay,
man!
In game.
so-
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock in the morning for me. That's not gonna work.
Jeez, man. Okay. Other things happening. So tomorrow, Rogue has they're restarting Dragons of Icebear Peak tomorrow because of a total party kill. That's fine.
Oh
That
shit!
Yeah. And then on Monday we will do some world building. So I'll be working on all of those because I have this going on. Tuesday is Witchlight and Wesmia, which is also kind of sort of set in all of those. And then Wednesday we have Dak, who's been in the chat today, rolling with us. He's running the Ghosts of Salain in his homebrew world. Thursday, Verod they're getting close to finishing up Curse of Strahd. And then we're back again next week too. So with that, thank you very much everybody for joining us out there in Twitch land. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you on the flip
Thank
side.
you, everybody.
See ya.